the topic that I have for today, which was not planned because of our current circumstances, but I must say it is matim. It's just what we were up to in Shmona Esrei, is the Beracha of Refuah. The Beracha of Refuah, davening for Refuah. So, I'll share my screen, and we'll talk a little bit about the Beracha of Refuah. I don't plan on doing it in 1 week, but we'll try to get some of the ideas. So the first thing I want to talk about is the following. It seems to be that in the world of Chazal, the value of davening for the sick, again, I could not have picked a better time to give this share, or worse time, whatever you want to say. But the Chazal seem to conceptualize the bracha, davening for sick people, as having unique value. Okay? So, for example, if you look at the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Daf Chet, Amar B'chia Barashi Amarav, Afal Bisha Amru Shoel Adam Tzarachav B'Shomei Tefillah, even though you can ask for whatever you want in Shomei Tefillah, Im Yesh Lo Chola B'Teich Beito, if you have a sick person in your home, Omer B'Berachat HaCholim, you should say it in Beracha HaCholim. Right? It picks out two sort of paradigmatic cases. If you have a sick person, you daven for Refuah in Refuahinu. You need Parnasa. Right? These are like the basics of what human beings need. And you find this in several places. It's not just there. It seems to be a paradigm here as well. If anyone has a sick person in his house, so go to a chacham and let him daven for you. So again, you see that this is like a central category, but it's even more than that. For Chazal, it's part of the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim. Right? Central to the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim is tefillah for the Cholim. So, my grandma, are you telling me that anyone who visits a sick person davens for him to live, and anyone who doesn't davens for him to die? Davens for him to die? Right? If you don't visit, you're not going to ask. You're not really going to daven for him to live or die. It's part of the mitzvah itself. And if you look in Shulchan Aruch, this is captured in Shulchan Aruch. You shouldn't visit the first 3 days of the first 3 hours of the day. Because in the morning, people feel a little bit better when they first wake up, and therefore it won't seem so bad. So you won't daven with the right intensity. And if you go to the last 3 hours of the day, right, as people are going to sleep, it's the worst, you're going to give up and you won't daven. And therefore you should pick when you go visit the sick person based on when you're most likely to daven. And if you go and you visit and you don't daven, lo kiyama mitzvah. You don't even fulfill the mitzvah Bikur Cholim. Sivhei, kishim mevakesh, olav rachamim, if you're in front of him, you can do it in any language. When you're not with the sick person, it has to be in Lashon HaKodesh. And you should include him amongst other sick people, which is what we do. So the first point to make about Beracha of Refuah is that it's a paradigmatic tefillah, and it's essential, even to Bikur Cholim, right? This is like a central value in halacha. That's point one. Point two of introduction that you have to make to the Beracha of Refuah is that it seems to be in Chazal's thought that one of the reasons it's central, there's a central value of davening for a choleh, is because there's a particular danger by refuah that you will put all your faith in medicine and in doctors. And therefore, as much as it's important in the rest of life to daven and to remember that it's in the hands of God, by refuah, Chazal seem to think that this is particularly important. Where do you see this? So the first place you see this is the following. From the pasuk that you learn that you have to pay health costs when you damage someone, we learn from here you learn that permission is given to the doctor to heal. Now we also derive from this a mitzvah, but many of the Rishonim note that why do you need permission? I mean, what is this language? You need permission. So Rashi says, because you might have thought, you might have thought that God hurt the guy, so I have no right to heal him. And Tosfos similarly says, you might have thought, okay, you can heal him for things that were inflicted by other human beings. Says maybe that doesn't show that this goes against the will of God. So it has to tell you that it's mutter. So here you see that there was at least a havamina that even being engaged in refuah was going against God. Kamashmalon, it's not. But that already points in this direction that healing is something that's particularly in God's court. Now I gave a summary of some of the other days here from an article I wrote years ago just because it was quicker this way. Several commentators explain what generated the original assumption that medical treatment should be prohibited. Rashi, Tosfos, and Ramban suggest that since illness is caused by God, any attempt to alleviate sickness could be seen as an attempt to undermine God's will. In a similar vein, Rav Amnon Gombiner, the author of Magen Avraham, in his Sefer Zayit Ra'anan, his commentary to the Mechilta, proposes that while doctors are logically permitted to treat patients initially, after treatment fails, a verse is required to teach that they may continue to treat the patients. Failure of treatment is not an indication that God desires the ill person to remain ill. Rav Chaim, one of the Tosafos, propounds a parallel explanation, suggesting that the verse teaches that many doctors can attempt to treat the patient, not just one. But here's where it gets more complicated. There are certain Rishonim who actually believe that no, it's not just that there was a havamina that you shouldn't be allowed to be engaged in refuah. The havamina was that you might have thought that the only thing you're allowed to do is daven. And so much so is the havamina that certain Rishonim accepted it, limaskana. That the Ibn Ezra and Beracha submit that in truth, doctors are prohibited from treating internal wounds. Only external wounds are considered legitimately subject to human intervention. And in his commentary to the Torah, Ramban further suggests that the novelty of the verse is one is permitted or obligated to attempt performing surgery, even if the surgery could possibly kill the patient, making the doctor an inadvertent killer. Rav Kook, in a fascinating explanation, argues that the Torah needed to allow doctors to act in accordance with the medical knowledge available to them, even though medical knowledge is subject to change. But what I want to focus on, what I wrote here from the Ibn Ezra, is that one of the ways that you see the centrality of tefillah to refuah is that for most Rishonim, it was only a havamina that you're not allowed to be involved in refuah. But for some Rishonim, it was their maskana that either you shouldn't be involved in refuah, or at least being involved in refuah and not depending completely on tefillah was non-ideal. And they based themselves primarily on this pasuk in Divrei Hayamim and another version in Melachim that says, "Vayechela asa b'shnat 39 l'malchuto beraglav ad l'malach chalyo v'gam b'chalyo lo darash et Adonai ki barofim." The Torah, the Navi is talking about the problem of Asa. Asa was sick, and what was his sin? His sin was that he went to doctors and didn't go to God. In Melachim, you find by Mimayim Chalach Chizkiyahu Lamut, Vayvo Elav Yishayahu ben Amos Navi, Vayomer Elav Komar Adonai Tzavla V'Etcha Kimerat V'Lo Techiyeh. Chizkiyahu is becomes sick, and again, the relationship he has here is with the Navi, rather than with doctors, right? It's framed as something that really should be between God and man. And Ibn Ezra, Limaskana, therefore, says, V'rapo yirapeh, lo shanan reshut l'rofim l'rapeh ha'makot ha'psim shir b'chutz. This tells you that you only have a heter to heal them with external wounds. But indeed, internal wounds, you can only go to God. What's his proof? Asa is criticized for going to doctors. And the Ramban as well seems to take an approach like this. So there's a big machloket about whether he meant this la halacha, he meant this only for tzaddikim gemurim. But at any rate, or is only as an ideal, but not in practice. But at any rate, he writes, V'aklal kibihot Yisrael shleimim v'hem rabim. When the Jews are perfect, lo yinayig inanim b'teva klal, they will not be controlled by nature. Lo begufam, v'lo be'artzam, not in their bodies, not in their land. Lo biyachid mehem, not a single one of them. Kivarech Hashem lechamem me'amem ve'asir machal mikirbam. Sorry, lachmamu me'mam. Sorry, I'm so tired. Kivarech Hashem lachmamu me'mam. God blesses their bread and their water. Ve'asir machala mikirbam, and removes illness. Ad shelo yitztarech l'rofei. So they won't need doctors. L'shtamer b'derech midarkei refuah klal. They won't have to depend on medicine. K'moshe amar ki ani Hashem rofecha. V'chein hayu at tzadikim osim bizman ha'nevuah. And that's what the tzadikim did in the time of the nevuah. Gam kikram avon she'achalo lo yidrshu berofim rak b'neviim kinyan Chizkiah b'chaloto. They wouldn't turn to doctors like Chizkiah. They would turn to the Navi. And kings who didn't do that, like Asa, the Torah criticizes. V'mar katuv gam b'chalyo lo darash et Hashem ki berofim. V'ilu haya davar rofim nahug b'hem matam she'izkir rofim eina Hashem rak v'shelo darash Hashem. There were clearly doctors. The problem wasn't that there weren't doctors, it was that there were doctors and he went to them when he should have gone to God. Aval hu kasher yomar adam lo chal ploni matzav chag matzot kim chametz. Aval doresh Hashem b'navi lo yidrosh berofim. When he goes to the Navi, he shouldn't go to doctors. Uma chelek l'rofim b'veit osei ritzon Hashem. What do doctors have to do in the homes of those who follow God? God promised He'll take care of your food and your water and take care of your illnesses. And that's what the Gemara means when it says that that when Rabbah was Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Yosef never even had a bloodletter come to his house. And then he proves it from the following Gemara in Brachot. The Gemara in Brachot says the following: The Amar of Acha hanichnas lahakiz dam. When you go to let blood, which is a form of medicine for them, Omer, what should he daven? Yiratzon milfanecha Hashem Elokai she'esik zeh li l'refuah v'ter be'eni. That this should heal me. Ki el rofei nemanatav refuatcha emet. Because you are the trusted doctor, and your healing is true. It's not what people should be doing, it's just what they do, is to go to doctors. And Abaye had said, don't say that. Don't say that you're not supposed to go to doctors. And Kikaimai Omer, Amar Ravacha, Baruch Rofei China. But the Ramban argues, right, doesn't quote that second half, but focuses the first. And he says, even when it says, V'rapo yirapeh, mikan shenitna l'rofei l'rapot, lo amru shenitna reshut l'choleh l'rapot. Kivin shechala choleh, ba l'rapot, ginag b'rofot, v'lo yamei adan Hashem, shechalkam b'chayim, ein l'rofei l'asar atzmo mirefuto. What it's telling you is if someone gets sick, and he isn't a tzaddik, and he's of those weak people, essentially, who go to doctors, so then it's not usher for the doctor to treat him. Etc. Etc. So the second point is to note that I think part of the reason that tefillah is so important is, obviously, if you're the Ibn Ezra, it's obvious. There are certain types of refuah, like internal medicine is asur. You have to go to tefillah. So obviously, tefillah is central by it. We don't go that far, la halacha kamuvan. We probably don't even go as far as the Ramban, who says that going to doctors is bidiavad, and a tzaddik shouldn't go to doctors. And again, many of the Mefarshim, and there's a summary of this in Yerodeshin, Lamed Vav, and Nishmas Avram, we don't paskin this way, right? The consensus of poskim is go to doctors. It's a mitzvah. You have to go to doctors. You have to follow medicine. I don't want anyone quoting me as saying that I don't think that's true. But the one thing I do think you get out of this discussion is that the reason I think there's a uniqueness to the Beracha of Refuah and davening for cholim in general is that there is, at a certain level of belief, that more than anything else, or maybe not anything else, but refuah is something where we uniquely understand that its success depends on God, and we need to be cognizant of that, especially given the fact that we do pursue medicine as a human expertise. And it's dafka, that emphasis on going to doctors and taking care of ourselves and putting in human effort, that requires us to simultaneously daven to remind ourselves that in the end, God is the one behind it. Okay, so that's my sort of introductory framing to the centrality of tefillah in the world of refuah. What?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I unmuted myself.
Oh, that's fine. I thought you had a question, but okay.
No, it's just people talking in my apartment.
Okay, that's fine. But that's the first point. The first 2 points I would make, right? Is there is this centrality to again. I want to make it 100% clear. Lahalacha, the consensus of poskim, there's a mitzvah to go to doctors to keep yourself healthy. V'chulei v'chulei. But what this discussion at least reminds you is that, especially because we're spending so much time putting in our ishtadlus, it is doubly and triply important that we remember that in the end of the day, the success of it depends on God, which is, again, why today, it's a good day to say it, that simultaneous to Israel, having all its quarantining and shutdowns and testing and everything we're doing, which is a mitzvah, and, obviously we should try to save people's lives, the chief rabbinate decided that a half day of fast and a day of tefillah to remember that none of this is going to be successful without God behind it. That's equally critical from a theological perspective to balance out our emphasis on our own efforts. Okay, so those are my introductory points, and like I said, I didn't plan it that I would be giving this year in the middle of a essential health crisis lockdown, but it was good timing, right? Thinking about these issues was a good time to think about it. And again, it only makes it more important for me to emphasize that this is not, I don't know how many times I can say it because I don't want someone quoting me out of context, not you, but whoever hears the recording. Mitzvah, listen to doctors, chayev, keep yourselves healthy, etc. It's just that emphasis on how much effort we put on as human beings can't erase the fact that God is central to it, and that's why there is this unique role to tefillah when it comes to refuah. Okay, that's the first point. Second point, I think also important to think about nowadays, is that in the Beracha, we transform a pasuk that began as a tefillah for an individual, and we transform it into a tefillah for a rabbin. Right? The basis of our tefillah is this pasuk in Yirmiyahu. Refeini Adonai ve'irafeh, Hoshieni vivasheya, ki tilati ata. Heal us and we will be healed, and we have to get to this language. Save us and we will be saved, for you are our praise. Now this, on the one hand, makes a lot of sense, but it actually takes some explanation of how do we allow this transformation, because the Tosefta says as follows. The Tosefta in Megillah, Gimel Men Aleph, says, Katav nichtav liyachid mechaneto lirabim, lirabim mechanin moto liyachid. Yehuda Omer metargem pasuk kitzurato reza badai v'amos of reza megadef. Right, we have this this problem of right, in our version it says that you can be mechaneh l'rabim. Right, you can be mechaneh l'rabim. But if you look at the version in some of them, and this is what you have in the Avudraham, he says, "V'avogav namin v'tosefta kol hakatuv l'rabim ein mechaneto liyachid, liyachid ein mechaneto l'rabim." Their version, the Rishonim's version of this Tosefta, was that anything that in the pasuk is written in individual, you're not allowed to switch it to plural, and vice versa. So how is it that we take this pasuk in Yirmiyah and we transform it from Yachid to Rabim? How do we have the right to do that? So the Ramah says, he quotes the Ramah, Rameir Levi Abulafia, Berush Ramah, Dafka betargum metargem psukim, or akori pasuk kichtavo bizman shemecharein likrot ein rashai l'shanot mirabim liyachid or miyachid lirabim. That's a limitation only in Targum when you're reading the psukim. Aval pasuk shel tefillah she'ein kavanat hatzibur likrotam ela litchanein derech tefillah v'akasha. But if you're taking the pasuk and turning it into a tefillah, harein kishar tefillah urashain l'shanota kefi tzorech hasha'ah. So then you change it in the way that it makes sense, and it makes sense to daven for the kihila, as the Gemara said before, that we always include the yachid amongst the rabbim. That's the way we daven. That's essential to daven. V'arav Rabbeinu Yonah pairs dafka kisharei kolam is more. He says maybe it's only when you read the whole psuk, the whole parak. You're not allowed to do it, etc. The Tur says, "V'aval gav detanya kol hakatuv l'rabim ein mechanato liyachid," etc. How do we say it? So again, he quotes the Ramah. That when it's derech be'akashah, I can shart tefillah rashin l'shanotam lefi tzorech hasha'ah. He quotes this basically identically. And Shulchan Aruch as well says the same thing. Okay. So that's point 2. Is that while in the pasuk it is in Lashon Yachid, and when it comes to Targum, you're not allowed to change Yachid to Rabim. When it comes to Tefillah, that you are allowed to, and as we saw before, that's even essential, right? You're supposed to be doing that. Okay. Next point. Let me stop this for a second. What is this weird phrase, both in the pasuk in Yirmiyahu, and which we then borrow over to our tefillah, which is hilas ki tehilati ata. Right? What does that mean? So here, I'll give you a few possibilities, and we'll develop some of these more as we go along. So, one second. So one is, I'll throw out a few possibilities. One is that, and this is something we developed when I gave Shir on Ata Kadosh, sometimes our justification for asking God to listen to us is that we represent God. And therefore, when we do well, it is Mekadesh Shem Shamayim. And when we don't do well, it's Achil Hashem. And therefore, what we're saying to God is, since we're the people who praise you, we represent you, that's a reason for us to ask, that we have a right to ask for refuah. Another way of understanding, and I think this is what most of the Mefarshim say, is that it's not quite that we represent him. it's that God, we turn to you and we ask you to heal us. And one of the reasons that we think we have a right to do that is because we're going to appreciate it, right? And this builds on what we said before, is that if we, as we already established, one of the reasons that tefillah is so central to refuah is because it's something that's so easy to say is really about us and our efforts and doctors. And it's so easy to lose sight of the fact that behind all that medicine and behind all of our efforts is God. And that's why we always need to keep that in mind. So it could be that what we're saying is, God, heal us because we are the ones who realize that the true cure is from you. And therefore the fact that we're the people who praise you and will recognize that true refuah comes from you, that is a justification for us asking for refuah. And this interpretation I found in the Sefer Olad Tamid on Tefillah. One more possibility, and this is taken by Rav Ezra Bick, is the following: is maybe what we're saying is slightly different, right? We've said either we represent you, and therefore we deserve, so to speak, to be healed. The second is that we say to God, look, heal us because we promise that despite all the efforts we're going to put in terms of our human efforts, in terms of going to doctors, we will remember that it's really from you, God. And therefore, in the schus that we recognize the true refuah comes from you, so help us be successful. And one more possibility is to say what we're saying is, God, heal us because, or not because. If you heal us, we recognize that is the reason for our health, because if you heal us because we daven to you, this is an expression of our relationship. And when you heal us, it is an expression of the fact that we have a healthy relationship, because there's this connection between our spiritual health, so to speak, and our physical health. So we asked you to heal us because we're praising you, which shows that there's a health in our relationship. And if you heal us and we continue to praise us, the fact that we're healed will itself be an expression of the fact that we have a healthy relationship between us. So it could be that this phrase, Ki tilateinu ata, is picking up on these sort of deeper levels of refuah. Okay. So let me share the screen again. That leads me to the next question, which is this only about physical healing, or is it about spiritual healing as well? So the simple pshat is that it is about physical healing. And this is the pshat in the Beracha, and it's the pshat in the Gemara. Because if you look at the Gemara says that we follow the order of the bracha of Asolech Chol Avonaichi Harofe L'Kol Tachluaichi, and the Gemara says the Meimra Degula Refuah Basar Slichu V'Aktiv V'Shaver Rafalo. In a different pasuk we have tshuva and then directly into refuah. So he says, "Hahu that pasuk lav refuah dachaloami refuah deslichahi." That pasuk isn't about human healing. That's about, right? It isn't about health. It's about forgiveness. But that indicates that our bracha, for all of the spiritual undertones, is fundamentally, or maybe the spiritual rationales, is fundamentally about health. Right? It's about us getting better physically. And that's what the Birkei Yosef notes. That the pasuk, the Gemara understood, was about spiritual health. But the bracha is about physical health. And he said, therefore, there were some who have the girsa in the bracha of heal our souls. And he said, that's wrong. This bracha, for all its spiritual background, is a physical request. Ask God to heal us. The bracha zu berefuah tachloya gufukba v'lo refuah deslicha. But he notes that there were many who said that maybe it was secondarily about spiritual health, and therefore they left the phrase harofei letachloei nafshenu in. If you look, however, in the Ha'arot of the Birkei Yosef, he writes that maybe you can defend it. Which is to say, maybe the reason you daven for the spiritual health is not because the bracha is about spiritual health, but because of these undertones, because of this recognition. Okay, I might have to stop after this because these hiccups are getting bad. I don't know why I have the hiccups suddenly. It's very odd. Maybe it's just I'm talking for 3 hours. I don't know. He says, the mechevan shetachluei aguf hem toldo tachluei nefesh. Since physical illness can be or is an expression of spiritual illness, imkein shaper mavakesh al tachluei nefesh hem ikar v'sibat cholei aguf. And he says, "Ve'ein l'shol chazal lama lo tiknu bracha cholei nefesh bilvad." So why did Chazal set up a bracha according to this pshat that's not only about physical health but is also about spiritual health? V'yesh lomer decheven she al cholei aguf derech olam l'shol mishum shu yadua ma she'en gen cholei hanefesh sover she'enu cholo bari b'nafsho l'yodakid atava kalado etc. L'chein tiknu bracha yidu alakol. He said maybe the ikr really is the spiritual background. But the reason that most of the bracha talks about physical health is because that's what people ask for. So you need to set up a bracha for that which people are going to ask for. But if you ask me spiritually, what's behind the bracha, what's the real essence of the bracha? It is the spiritual background. So you have here this fundamental machlokes. The Birkei Yosef, right? The Chida says, is the Chida or Ben Ishchai, I forget, says that the bracha is exactly what it looks like. It is a bracha for physical healing. But then you have this other tradition who says, no, maybe that's the proximate cause of people davening. But if you want to ask me the essence of the Beracha of Refuah, it's that God should help us heal the spiritual flaws that lead to physical ones. And the truth is that the hint to this might be the following, which is the centrality of Milah. The Gemara says that the reason the Beracha of Refuah is number 8 is to remind us of the Milah. And the Tur says, what does that teach you? Why is it so important to have the Beracha of Refuah be numerically remind you of Milah? To remind you that Torah v'hamitzvos bara Refuah. To remind you that Refuah comes in a schus of mitzvah. Now, the truth is that there are others. Rabbi Eibshit says in a very surprising line, which I don't buy at all.
My cousin.
What?
He's my cousin, actually.
Who?
Yonasan Eibshitz.
Your cousin back a few hundred years, but okay.
Yeah, a few hundred years. Like my great-grandparents are
just
last
a little while.
Cool.
Only I think 9 generations.
Okay, well then you can defend this pshat if you want. But Rabbi Yonasan Eibshit says that maybe the bracha is not really a bracha about refuah at all. It's only a bracha that you should heal babies after the 8th day, and that's what the Gemara means, and that's how he understands the phrase Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael. Why does the bracha finish Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael? isn't refuah something all human beings need? You're right. But the bracha isn't about that at all. It's only about bris milah. I think that's a bit of a stretch. The Shem Shmuel has a different pshat, which is maybe all that comes to the world come b'schus hamila, which again I think is a bit of a stretch. Rebik has a different pshat, which is maybe what the Torah is getting at is what we said before, is that the Brit is the physical manifestation of our covenant, and that is the basis of our connection to health. Right? It's not that really the bracha is about health. It's just that in the backdrop is always this spiritual rationale. Okay, I think these hiccups are driving me nuts. So I'm going to say let's stop here for now and say the next sources that I focus on are some of the broader themes and specifically what it means that this bracha is Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael. Right? So just the questions I have left here are just to sort of throw them out here and you can think about them, is if refuah is such a basic human need, so we've thrown at some pshatim in this, but why is it, in the end of the day, that we end Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael, right? You would think of all brachot that we would limit to Jews, refuah would not be one of them. So what does this tell us about the nature of refuah? And again, we've started building these themes that might answer the question, we have to flesh it out. Another is, what does it mean, Rofei Ne'eman? What does it mean to be a regular Rofei versus a Rofei Ne'eman, a faithful healer? Those are the two sort of big questions I still have left on this bracha. But I guess we'll take it up next time. I can't stand having every 5 words I need a hiccup. So on that note, I'm gonna call it a day for now.
Refuah Shlema, love. I guess go get some water.
Shalema.
Refuah Shlema, yeah, halavai. The biggest problem any of us have is hiccups.
Yeah.
Amen. Ken Yiratzon, Menomar Amen. You know. Good. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later.